context. You have to know what's going on. And we talk about historical context, like what's going on big picture, but also what's going on small picture, right? So context, we'll come back to the question. What do you think the context of this image is? You're not seeing the whole thing, by the way. But what do you think, where do you think they are? What's going on?
It's some kind of gathering.
A social gathering?
Yeah, it looks like a party.
A party? Yeah, maybe out, having a few drinks or something like that.
Yeah, I get a feeling that's gonna be really bad.
Do they look like they're having a good time?
I don't know.
What's that?
I feel like they're doing something to like black people or something.
You don't know yet.
I feel like
do
you're like drawing us into this.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying, right? Okay. But they look overall like they're having a good time. This guy, looks like he's, maybe trying to make some moves on the girl or something like that, right? Like they overall look like this is a good day. It's a good time.
Are we going to see the whole picture?
Yeah. Oh no.
Okay? But that's not what's going on. Okay? But you also have to understand the context of history, though, too, at the same time, right? The context of the image and the context of the history, okay? So, when we look at the image at large. Right? Today, in our context today, something like this, an event like this is unacceptable. Right? Beyond it being illegal, it is immoral, it is wrong, it is unacceptable. But within the image, this is, 1950s, 1960s America. 1950s, 1960s America, is it an acceptable thing? Yeah, it is if you're in the South, okay? Today, not good, right? But there's context that's important. And so you have to understand that context. So when we look at an event like Bacon's Rebellion, think of it this way. This is the best way I can get you to remember what Bacon's Rebellion does. Okay? Bacon, right? Food. You like to eat bacon, right? Most people like to eat bacon. Maybe some of you don't like bacon, but most people like bacon. Okay? So if you serve bacon to somebody, Bacon's Rebellion ends indentured servitude. So you serve bacon, right? You serve bacon to your friends, your family. Bacon's Rebellion will end indentured servitude in the United States. Okay? Best mnemonic that I've been able to come up with anyways. Maybe you can come up with something else that'll help you remember it better, but you serve bacon. So Bacon's Rebellion ends indentured servitude. The context of that is that, okay, so the context of Bacon's Rebellion. Indentured servitude, it ends indentured servitude. So what else is going on in the United States when indentured servitude is ending? Slavery is becoming more popular. Not only is it more popular, it's easier for us to get slaves. Does that make sense? It's right over here.
Thank you.
Yep. It's easier to get slaves. So because it's easier to get slaves, right? And also, here we are spouting off these ideas of democracy, right? And people having a voice and yada yada. And then you have these indentured servants who are white, who are basically being prevented from having a voice or doing anything. They're being treated like slaves. And they're like, wait, you can't treat me like I'm a slave, I'm a white guy. Okay? So they rebel, and everybody's like, yeah, this whole idea about basically enslaving white people, that's kind of tough to do. There's gotta be some other group of people that are easier for us to enslave because they look different. Okay? Okay? So, who is that other group then? Africans. Right? African slaves. So that's the context of Bacon's Rebellion. Context of the image? 1950s, 60s America. Okay? But otherwise, it doesn't look like there's too much bad here going on.
You see fire in the background.
It's the street lights actually, I think, but here, these two, I think they're street lights because there's street lights right there too. And I don't think it's fire, but I could be wrong. Okay, so remember we talked about synthesis, right? Okay, this will come up over and over and over and over again, making a bigger connection. So who said this? And then you have to answer this question on your sheet. Who said this?
Can I say it aloud?
Yeah, you can say it out loud. Who do you think said it?
I think it's Donald Trump.
Okay. Anybody have any
Oh,
other
this is the
guesses?
first sentence I didn't thought it was can I don't know. I think
Yeah, I don't think it was Donald Trump.
likewise.
Okay.
Donald Trump doesn't sound isn't.
This eloquent is that what
No,
you're trying to
definitely
say?
not. Definitely not. He would probably say something. Yeah, wouldn't use.
You would have to have a few. You can trust me on this in there.
I don't think you use the
I-
word acquire or complexion.
Or prejudice. I don't think he can.
Would it be?
Okay.
Everyone's
Or
old-timey because
customs.
they
I don't even
pronounced
think he
they
knows
don't
what
know
customs
what
mean.
Okay.
Wait, was it a president?
Or complexion. I don't think he
I-
knows what that means either.
Yeah.
It was Harry Truman.
No, it's not a president. I take that back. I'm sorry, but he was a
Jefferson.
leader. So it's not Truman. It's not Eisenhower, although both Truman and Eisenhower say similar things, by the way. This is a statement that, you're right, it's not this dude, okay? Okay? This is a statement that reworded has been said in the United States on numerous occasions, okay? But it was actually this dude. Okay, now I took some of the old-timey language kind of out of it because, you know, otherwise you really wouldn't know who it was, because once you get a hither, like that pretty, like, keys in that this is not a modern kind of a thing, right?
Definitely Trump.
Yeah, hither, you know, it can't be it. So, but when you look at it,
Build the wall hither.
okay, when you look at it though, we have to understand that, and understand though too that that's not an argument that goes away. This whole basically getting any new immigrant that comes into our country, that they ruin what America is and they make America, you know, bad place to be. Well, it's not an argument that is a new thing. Does that make sense? It's an argument that's been around since we started, which I always find this extremely hilarious because of the fact that these individuals, they were immigrants too. So, okay. Chronological reasoning, understanding the order of things, when they happen, why they happen, etc. Okay? And the causes, effects of things. Why in the world, this is an actual image, it's not like a doctored, I didn't Photoshop this.
That's terrifying.
Where is that from?
New York.
It's a safe place here too. Like,
Yeah,
photos and
yeah.
they can play.
So if we're thinking about this causation, why in the heck would a parent be like, let me put my kid out a window of a skyscraper?
Didn't they want them to get more
Need some
sunlight?
fresh air.
Fresh air, space, what?
Didn't they want them to get like more sunlight?
Yeah, more sunlight, yeah.
Or if they were sick.
Yeah, it was all of that. It's because if we know what's going on in the historical context of the image, the parents were actually encouraged to do this. There was a company that was developed that made these baby cages, okay? And they did so in large part because there was a big push in the United States in the early 1900s and into the 19-teens, 1920s, in which individuals like that Theodore Roosevelt argued that, hey, Americans need more fresh air. They don't get enough fresh air as it is. That's part of the reason why we have the National Park Services. People need to get outside, right? And so this company, being like, you know, entrepreneurs, said, hey, we can capitalize on that. Let's convince parents to put their babies outside of the window. Okay. You also have to realize that the majority of the urban people in the urban environment, there weren't a lot of parks for people to go and to take their children to. So the only place that you had to play was in the streets. Or if you lived in a tenement building, played inside the crowded tenement. Well, there wasn't always plumbing in the tenement houses, and when you had it, it didn't always work. So people like to take their waste and throw it out the windows of the tenement buildings. So I don't know if you really want your little kid running around and all that, right? Okay. Fun, right? But everything has a cause and an effect, right? So the cause for this, kids need more fresh air. The effect of it, a little bit more difficult, but
Experience.
learn by experience. Not a good idea, right? Don't put your baby in a cage out a window. They just might fall.
Are there any actual fatalities?
Yeah.
Oh,
There
jeez.
wasn't like regulations yet, were there?
No, there are no regulations because at that point in time we don't have like OSHA or any occupational safety hazard. We don't have FDA, nothing. So there's no regulations at that point in time, and so as a result of it, no building codes either at that point. Or the few building codes that we have are pretty lax. So yeah, there were kids that died, okay? And now we don't do this anymore. The other effect of it also is that we start to see more parks being built, okay? So when we look at colonization, what are some of the causes of colonization? Why do people colonize?
Gold, God, and glory.
And 3 G's, right? Should know those, okay? Gold, God, and glory. And what's the effect?
Everyone moves and goes there.
Okay? Other effects other than Europeans fleeing Europe to come to the Americas for a new life.
Native Americans were pushed back
Yeah, Native Americans were not only pushed back, but their population was
because
decimated, decreased. I mean, like, estimates are anywhere from it being the American Indian population in the colonies prior to whites arriving were anywhere from 8.1 million people, okay, on the high end, to about 3.1 million people on the low end. The instant the colonists arrive, okay, by the time of De La Cascas, we're down to about 1.2 million. That's a very short amount of time, right? What other effects are there?
Influx of resources to Europe.
Resources to Europe, such as
The tomato.
the tomato, corn, right? Also goes. Another fun fact of something that goes that way, syphilis, okay? I mean, yes, okay? Which goes to show you that, yes, they were intermingling, okay? Because syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease, okay? What other disease comes this way? Smallpox, amongst others, but smallpox is the big one, right? Okay. What happens to those American Indians that do not die immediately? They're enslaved, okay, into the encomienda system through the recorrimiento, okay? Or they're also, what happens to them?
Killed.
They die, they're killed, they're told, go find me gold, and if you don't find me gold, you're going to die, okay? Or your children will die. Go find me more gold. This gold has to be there. Well, it wasn't, but find it for me, right? Or eventually we see them pushed farther away from the coastline, right? To more desolate land. Eventually, long-term reservation systems, right? They're put on. Okay. We also want to look a little bit about CCOT, okay? And all of these you should realize kind of like build on each other, but CCOT is change in continuity, okay? How things change or stay the same. And I'm not going to play the video for you just because of time, okay? But basically understand that some things stay the same, some things change over a period of time, okay? So based on Columbus to De La Cascas, it's about 100 years between Columbus arriving and De La Cascas, okay? How did people's opinion about how to treat American Indians change between De La Cascas and Columbus?
Wait, I thought Columbus was first.
Or Columbus to De La Casa.
Okay, I was
Sorry,
like,
I said it wrong.
I mean, you did say De La Casca said that it was wrong to enslave the Native Americans, so I'm guessing that their numbers weren't like severely changed as much as they were with Columbus.
Yeah, right. Things kind of level out a little bit. The treatment of the American Indian peoples are a little bit better. Now, there's some things that happen in Europe to kind of change some of that. Some of the wars of religion kind of change some of that, and so as a result, things settle down. But basically, understand that people are like, hey, that's not really Christian of us to do that to people, so maybe we shouldn't do that to people. Okay? And there are people, even at De La Casa's time, that are arguing that slavery is wrong. We don't really get it, though. Okay? We're going to probably run out of time here. Let's see. Yeah, we'll talk more about this stuff a little bit on Monday. You guys don't have any actual homework unless you didn't write the letter to Johnson over the course of the week.